Hey, what's poppin' YouTube? This is the RPG, and today we're gonna do a tier list for PvP and PvE. Just be advised that this is my own opinion based on my experience on all the past betas and all past tests that we had. Tomorrow on the 21st, actually 2 days from now, on the 21st, we are going to have the global release. So a lot of people requested this on Twitch on my channel. I'm live every day on twitch.tv/Biggie, but if you want to watch on YouTube, you can watch here at the RPG. Okay, let's start with the first class right here. This is the Archer. We're gonna talk about PvP first. Good that I came to this website tier maker and there's already it's already done by someone, which is pretty dope. So the Archer, it's a really good PvP class. The DPS dump is crazy. Not the BM, the critical the crit the crit build. I think it's more OP because it can dump a lot of DPS at once. And since the meta of this patch is silence and stun locking, I do believe archers are a class for PvP because they can silence, they can stun, they can kite a lot. It's a ranged class, so it's already A for me. It's a really good comp that you can have with an archer, a mage, or archer and assassin, or even an archer and a bard. You can abuse of those tools a lot. Oh, assassin for sure is one of the best classes for PvP. It's pretty complete because you can be invisible, you can start invisible, you can turn invisible in the middle of the battle, so people can lose your target. You have CCs, you have a healing cut which I think is the most valuable skill that the assassin has. Since last beta, they added healing cut for him, and it's the strongest DPS dump that I've seen on PvP. I think this is the only class who can solo someone. For example, if you have a healer in your tanker, or a healer in a CC class focusing on someone, and then the assassin focus on someone else, I think is the only class who can dump DPS and kill it all at once. The bard 100% is one of my favorite classes. I'm in between S+ and A+, but I'm gonna leave at A because the bard DPS, he has a lot of silence, not a lot of silence, has a silence skill that can be maintained for a long time. A lot of mobility. That's what I was trying to say. He has a lot of mobility, and it's really hard to get to him because he sprints and he runs away, and he keeps like hitting a lot. Also, the healer bard is still A because he can do the same thing with his ultimates. He can a lot of mobility, a lot of stuns or silences, and he can still help and heal your entire group. AoE healing bard. The mage. The mage is gonna be a B for me. The mage has a huge DPS dump, but when it comes up to ice mage, you have to build your damage before you dump. And since the meta and the PvP arenas are to silence and stun lock, sometimes your healer is already dead. And about the fire mage, I've seen a lot of people do a lot of like with 2 mages or a mage and assassin. They can do a lot, but I don't think the mage has a lot of tools for PvP, because he has the endurance that he can, it's hard to kill, glancing, there's the blinks, but it's easy to get to it. Anyways, it's not as hard to get to him as the bard is. And it's really, yeah, it's a B class for me. A lot of people can disagree. They're gonna put it on A or S, because mages are a big class on PvE, but for me, the PvP, they don't have as much tools as the other class. All right, Necromancer, 100% S+. The best healer that you can have for PvP is Necromancer. Why? Because it's really hard to kill. There's lots of stuns, lots of endurance, mobility you can get out of stuns. It's amazing to have a healer. There's a Necromancer. A DPS, it has the same ultimates, but I don't think the DPS does the same thing. But I think it's a must be. The top 3, top 5 or top 6 PvPers at China, they are even as healers. They are even Necro or Bard. The top 3 is Bard. He has a really good comp with a Warrior and Assassin, and he's just a really good player. He knows what he's doing. But you're gonna see a lot of Necromancers, and they are really hard to kill. People can focus and can do, like, sometimes I can even stun lock a Necromancer, and if the healer that is on my party doesn't follow up with a silence, he's not dying. The more you hit him, the more you heal. Paladins. All right, this is something that some people are gonna be mad with me, because if you're not a good paladin, it's definitely a B. Because paladins, they have the RNG that helps it, because of the critical chance. When you have a critical chance, there's no way of people going away from you. You're gonna kill it. But the strongest part of paladin on PvP, a DPS paladin, a tank paladin on PvP, or tank warrior or tank berserker, they are useless, guys. This is my own opinion. People might think different, but if you ignore the tanker, it's just one less player. He can do anything. But the DPS, he has the most CCs in the game. Since I'm a paladin and I'm really good with it, I'm gonna put A, because you want to have a paladin in your party if you have an assassin or a bard or a archer, because you can CC stun, even a warrior. You can CC stun lock someone, and there's nothing he can do. Also the crit chance, if you have the soft cap, which is 50% crit rate, if you have more than that, you're gonna hit for 11k. I've seen 17k, 15k. And on PvP, you want to dump the DPS on the right time, so you get rid of someone and the fight becomes easier. So popular opinion, paladin would be B, but to me, A for sure. Priests is gonna be B right here with the mage class. The priest DPS, I don't like it at all. I've seen people play it, but there's other DPS classes that it can substitute it. Healer, it's a good healing class. There's a lot of shields, but if you stun it at the middle of the healing, you can easily interrupt it. And there's a lot of good priests, don't take me wrong, but for PvP, when it comes to healers, for sure, Necro and Bard's gonna be the first option. This is my opinion. Warrior, this is gonna be S+ for sure. Warrior is a buffed class. I think they shadowed buffed it. They didn't tell anyone, but you can see on PvP and PvE, Warrior's shining because they're the healing cut, of course, all the stuns that he has, and the insane damage that he has, at least until right now I'm at the gear 94. So at gear 94, Warriors are shining. They are the top DPS class with Assassin on PvP and PvE. With all the tools, warrior is a must. So as you can see, this S plus right here is the essential. The combo of a warrior and a assassin with a healing cut and stuns, with a silence of the necro, or I mean the stun of the necro, or with a silence of a bard, this is a deadly party. All right, a lot of people's gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna leave the Berserker at C. A lot of people might be laughing at me right now because people has been testing the DPSs, and when it comes to practicing on a dummy, on a standing still target, Berserker has one of the highest DPSs on the game. But when it comes up to PvP, you're not gonna be standing still. So in order for the Berserker to build damage, the target has to be standing still for a long time, and that won't happen on PvP. People are gonna be stunning, being mobile, and when it comes up to dump the DPS and kill the healer or a certain DPS, to me, in my opinion, Biggie, this is the worst class. Okay, I'm sorry people that love Berserkers, but you're gonna, unless you're a really good player and the other side is a really bad player, you're not going to be able to shine as much as the other classes that has more tools to dump a DPS at once and get rid of one player, which is pretty much a certain win. It's really hard to win a 2v3 on arena. I've seen it happen, but if you have someone that is a challenger, which is the same, which is the highest rank that you can have on arena, you're gonna have trouble. It's different on Battlegrounds. Battlegrounds is a 10v10. Tanks can shine. Another classes, they're gonna shine more. On the first days, you're gonna see a lot of bards as MVPs, DPS bards, but don't take it as granted, guys. We talking about arena 3v3, which is the competitive fair side of Tarisland, and to me, in my opinion, Biggie, this is the tier list that we having. All right, everybody, let's talk about PvE. We're going to pretty much, if you have one of each for raids and challenges and world first or whatever you content you want to do, having one of each class is going to be the perfect scenario. Again, this is my opinion on the best classes for PvE. There's a lot of people that are really competitive and they want the best classes to play, the best people, you know, gonna rush to choose you. That's how I'm ranking the PvE classes on how favorite you are to other people. Okay, because every single class has, for PvE, it's kind of special. Okay, but let's talk about each one of them. All right, Berserker for PvE definitely is going to be an A. It's a necessary class to buff other people. If I'm not wrong, I might be wrong right here. It has a 50% buff on damage to other people if it's a DPS, and it's a great off tanker. It can be replaced by warrior and definitely paladin as a tanker, but as a DPS, it's really good to have one of those. Warrior, it was definitely a B before, but after the last patch, it's an A. I've seen warriors do a lot of damage. My old guildmate leader used to play with still plays with a warrior. He's one of the best DPSs that I've seen. AoE, single target, doesn't matter the build. This is a great dumper of damage. You're gonna see a lot of warriors as DPSers, and it's a must on a raid or on a dungeon. Necromancer, let's talk about Necromancer later. We're gonna put the healers to last right here. Paladin is gonna be an A too. Is one of the greatest tanks in my opinion. It is the greatest tank because there's a lot of utility. Your healer is gonna love that there is a paladin on the party, because they have to less worry about you and worry about more the others. You still gonna have a babysitter. healing you. But Paladin has self-heal, mitigates a lot of damage, shield to mitigate even more the damage. The glancing effects on Paladins are crazy. So you're gonna see a Paladin's definitely by far the best tank in the for PvE. And as a DPS, I would rate a B or C, because even that you have a lot of crit, you're not gonna outshine a berserker or a warrior, at least with low gear. I can't tell when you have full gear at 110. Maybe the paladin's gonna with a max cooldown and max crit rate, you're gonna crit more. Let's see. 1 month from now, I'm gonna make another tier list to see if my opinion is still based on those facts. But yeah, having a DPS paladin on a party is good, because there's a passive skill that you can buff your trial of rage, and anyone 25 meters from you are going to be buffed with haste for half of your buff. So if you're hasted by 25%, half of it is going to go to your group. It's going to be great to have a paladin DPS for world first or speedruns, raid speedruns. It's a great character, but what shines for PvE, it's a tanky paladin. The archer, of course, is gonna be A. The archer is it's the top 3 DPS characters in a game. As a beastmaster, there's a lot of people that are archers, right? So you're always gonna see some of them, at least 2 in your party, and they do a lot of damage. They're gonna be competing a lot with the berserker and warrior. So yeah, it's an A class for me. The priest, yeah, buddy, it's hard, right? It's hard. I would say B. Actually, it's an A. It's an A because you need to have a priest for solo healing. It's the best class for it. For solo healing a single tanker, or there is a skill that AoE heals a lot too, but it's a single skill. It's not like a primary skill that you're gonna be healing an area like the bard. But it's a must. It's a must for raids, for sure. If I would say what I'd rather have in a party is a necromancer healer and a priest. That would be the perfect thing, because the necromancer has a lot of passive buffs that if you're hit, you get healed more, and the priest is gonna dump a lot of healing. This is a must be for PvE. Assassins are S+. You are going to shine easily. You can literally tap your head on a keyboard and you're gonna be top 1 DPS, trust me. Bard. A bard is a good AoE healer. Good AoE healer and a good DPS, but it's not gonna outshine the archer. It's awesome to have a bard because he has a skill, a DPS bard, because he has a skill that buffs the entire party. So the people that I've seen doing world first always had a bard. That's the difference from being world first and doing a speedrun or not. Having a bard, a berserker on your party, they're gonna buff the overall damage of the party. And finally, last but not least, mage. Definitely gonna be an S for PvE when you have a lot of gear, because there is a lot of AoE damage that is done, and you always can see a mage at the top DPS, at least at the hundreds gear. So that was it. Thank you, everybody. That was my tier list. I hope you guys understood it right. Again, this is my own opinion from my past experience. I played a lot, and this can change. People might disagree, but you know, as you can see, I could talk a lot about it. This is the RPG. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow the video, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.